My dear friends, imagine for a moment that life is a grand theater, and each of us is an actor with a unique role to play. Yet instead of rehearsing our lines, perfecting our craft, or truly inhabiting our character, we spend our time peering at the audience, wondering what they think of us. We waste hours comparing costumes, envying other actors, or criticizing the set design, all the while the play of our life unfolds, unpracticed, unlived. Why do we do this? Because focusing on ourselves feels uncomfortable. It feels vulnerable. It's far easier to get lost in the noise of the world, to invest our energy in distractions, rather than face the quiet truth that the only thing we truly have control over is ourselves. And let's talk about time for a moment. What is it? We often think of it as something we have, something to be used or wasted. But the truth is, time is not a possession, it is a flow, a rhythm. And every moment you spend trying to live someone else's life, chasing approval, or indulging in distractions, you are stepping out of that rhythm. You are falling out of harmony with yourself. Now you may ask, but isn't it important to care about others, to connect, to share, of course? But how can you give anything meaningful to others if you've neglected the garden of your own soul? You can't pour from an empty cup. To focus on yourself is not selfish, it is essential. It is the foundation upon which all meaningful relationships and achievements are built. Let's talk about comparison. Ah, the great thief of joy. When you compare your life to someone else's, you are forgetting one critical thing. You are comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. Their achievements, their beauty, their possessions, they're not yours, and they never needed to be. Your path is entirely your own, and it is incomparable. But to walk that path requires presence. And here is the crux of it. You cannot truly focus on yourself if you are caught in the past or consumed by the future. The past is but a memory, a phantom. The future is a dream, a mirage. Your only true power lies in the now, right now. Are you living it? Or are you letting it slip through your fingers like sand blown away by the winds of distraction? So I ask you, what would happen if you stopped wasting time? Not just stopped wasting it on trivial distractions, but stopped wasting it by not being yourself. What would happen if you turned your attention inward? You'd find clarity. You'd discover your values, your desires, your truth. You'd realize that the world doesn't need another imitation, it needs you. Focus on yourself, not because the world doesn't matter, but because you are the lens through which you experience the world. Clear that lens, polish it. See life as it truly is, and most importantly, see yourself as you truly are. The play of your life is already happening. The stage is yours. Stop looking at the audience, take center stage, and live. We live in a world brimming with distractions. Every day we are bombarded by the noise of social media, the endless flow of information, the opinions of others, and the pressure to fit into societal molds. This constant external stimulation can often pull us away from our true selves, leaving us with little time or energy to reflect on who we really are or what we genuinely desire. In many ways, we become so wrapped up in the world around us that we forget the most important thing. The most important focus is within. The illusion of distraction is pervasive. We have become so accustomed to looking outward that we rarely turn inward. We scroll through social media, endlessly comparing our lives to the highlight reels of others, and we lose ourselves in the pursuit of approval or validation. We get caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, focusing on tasks, responsibilities, and goals set by others, while ignoring the inner call that whispers for our attention. But when you focus on the outside world, you are essentially ignoring the most significant resource you have, yourself. The constant search for external validation, whether through likes on a post, praise from others, or the acquisition of material possessions diverts your attention from the most important thing, understanding and knowing yourself. You might have dreams and desires, but if you're always looking outside for answers or comparisons, you miss the opportunity to connect with your true desires, strengths, and potential. The endless distraction from the world prevents you from ever sitting still enough to listen to your own heart. At the core of the distraction is the illusion that what's happening outside is more important than what's happening inside. We live in a society that teaches us to look outward for answers. From a young age, we're told to seek success, popularity, and material possessions. We're encouraged to look at what others are doing, compare our achievements with theirs, and use that as a measure of our own worth. This creates a cycle where our sense of self-worth becomes attached to external approval. We begin to lose touch with our own inner values and goals because we're too busy chasing someone else's definition of success. When we continuously focus on the outside world, we neglect the internal world, the thoughts, feelings, and desires that lie within us. We lose sight of our passions, our values, and our purpose. Instead of spending time reflecting on what we truly want out of life, we get caught up in fulfilling expectations set by others. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that the more we accomplish externally, the more fulfilled we'll feel. But in reality, the external world is only a reflection of what's happening inside of us. If we don't focus inward, we risk living a life that is disconnected from who we truly are. Take a moment and think about how often you get distracted by things that don't truly matter. How many hours do you spend on social media, comparing your life to the curated lives of others? How much time do you waste worrying about what others think of you? These distractions not only rob you of time, but also prevent you from connecting with your authentic self. When you focus on the opinions of others, you lose sight of your own voice. You become disconnected from your true desires and values, and you start living a life that is shaped by the expectations of others rather than your own. The path to self-awareness and fulfillment lies in turning your attention inward. The moment you begin to focus on yourself, you reclaim your power. Instead of looking outside for answers, you start seeking them within. You begin to ask yourself important questions. What do I truly want? What are my core values? What brings me joy and fulfillment? These questions are essential to understanding yourself and finding your path in life. Without this self-reflection, you risk living a life that is guided by the whims of the world around you rather than by your own inner compass. When you make the conscious decision to stop focusing on distractions and instead focus on yourself, you begin to see the world through a different lens. You start to notice what truly matters to you and let go of the noise that has been clouding your judgment. You realize that the opinions of others no longer carry the same weight. You become less concerned with what society deems as important and more in tune with what is truly meaningful to you. Self-reflection is a powerful tool for personal growth and clarity. By regularly taking time to check in with yourself, you can assess where you are in life and whether you're on the path that truly aligns with your desires and values. When you focus on yourself, you are essentially becoming your own guide, taking responsibility for your happiness and well-being. This inner focus allows you to align your actions with your true desires rather than being swayed by external expectations. The illusion of distraction is a trap that keeps us from living authentic lives. But when you make the choice to focus on yourself, you stop being a passive participant in life and become an active creator of your own story. Instead of letting the world dictate your happiness, you take control and begin to make choices that reflect your true self. You stop wasting time chasing things that don't serve you and start investing in what truly matters. When you finally stop getting lost in the noise of the world and start turning your focus inward, you'll be amazed at how much clearer your path becomes. The distractions may still be there, but they no longer hold the same power over you. You'll find that the more you focus on yourself, the more connected you feel to the world around you, because you will be coming from a place of authenticity and purpose. The illusion of distraction fades, and in its place, clarity and peace begin to emerge. Time is one of the most valuable resources we have, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. We often hear phrases like time is money, or spend your time wisely, but what does that really mean? Time isn't something we can accumulate or store for later, it's a continuous flowing experience. The idea of spending time suggests that time is something we can purchase or save up for the future, but in reality, every moment is fleeting and irreplaceable. The way we use our time is a reflection of how we value it. Yet we often find ourselves wasting it, unaware of its true nature and the impact this has on our lives. The truth is, time is not a resource that can be reclaimed once it's gone. Every second spent is a moment lost forever. When you think of it this way, it becomes clear that how we spend our time is one of the most important decisions we make in life. We often fall into the trap of thinking that we have all the time in the world, that we can always get things done tomorrow or next week. However, tomorrow is never guaranteed, and the more we delay, the more time slips away from us. Time is the one resource we can never buy back, which makes it all the more precious. We tend to waste time in various ways, whether it's through mindless scrolling on social media, procrastinating on tasks that we know we should tackle, or simply doing things that don't align with our true goals and values. The distractions that surround us on a daily basis contribute heavily to this time wastage. We allow ourselves to become engrossed in other people's lives, their opinions, and their agendas. This not only steals our time, but also our focus. Instead of focusing on what's important to us, we get caught up in the lives and priorities of others. This constant state of distraction, driven by the pressures and demands of the outside world, leads to a sense of disconnection from our true purpose. When we are constantly pulled in different directions, it's easy to forget why we're doing what we're doing in the first place. Every moment spent distracted is a moment we could have used to align with our purpose, work on our goals, or simply reflect on who we are and what we truly want from life. Wasting time is also an indication of a lack of self-awareness. When we aren't focused on ourselves or our true desires, it's easy to fall into the trap of doing things simply because they are expected or because we think they'll make us happy. This external focus takes us further away from our true selves. We end up wasting time trying to meet societal standards or fulfill the expectations of others, instead of creating a life that reflects who we truly are. In today's fast-paced world, where there is constant pressure to achieve, succeed, and be busy, we often forget that time is not just something we fill with tasks. It's a medium for living. We should be using our time in ways that bring us closer to our authentic selves, whether that's by pursuing our passions, nurturing our relationships, or simply allowing ourselves moments of stillness to reflect and recharge. Time well spent isn't about being busy, it's about being present. When we waste time, we not only lose precious moments, but we also disconnect from the present, missing out on the richness of the experience unfolding right in front of us. Living in a constant state of busyness, where every moment is filled with tasks, obligations, and distractions, prevents us from truly experiencing life. When we are caught up in this cycle, we often lose track of what truly matters. Time spent in mindless activity or out of habit is not time spent meaningfully. We need to recognize that time is something we experience, not something we control. When we focus on the present moment and use our time intentionally, we align ourselves with our true purpose and goals. Wasting time is a form of self-neglect. When we stop wasting it, we start living more fully. The key to not wasting time is to cultivate awareness and presence. Instead of allowing time to slip through our fingers, we must consciously choose how to spend each moment. This requires us to disconnect from the distractions of the world and reconnect with ourselves. When we take ownership of our time and use it wisely, we not only enhance our productivity, but also create a deeper sense of fulfillment and meaning in our lives. By focusing on what truly matters and cutting out the distractions, we can ensure that the time we have is spent on things that truly enrich our lives, helping us grow, evolve, and become the best version of ourselves. The concept of focusing on yourself might seem simple, but it's one that is often overlooked in a world that constantly demands our attention. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle, in meeting the expectations of others, and in striving for approval or success based on external measures. But focusing on yourself is a powerful act of self-care and self-awareness that allows you to reconnect with your inner needs, desires, and values. When you focus on yourself, you create the space needed for personal growth, clarity, and a deeper sense of purpose in life. Focusing on yourself is not about being selfish or disregarding others. It's about making sure your own needs are met first, so you can then offer your best self to the world. We often spend so much of our time helping others, pleasing others, or living up to the expectations of society that we neglect our own well-being. This constant external focus can lead to burnout, dissatisfaction, and a feeling of being disconnected from who we truly are. By focusing on yourself, you reclaim your power and take ownership of your life. When you make a conscious effort to focus on yourself, you begin to clear away the distractions that cloud your judgment and energy. Whether it's setting boundaries with people, minimizing time spent on distractions like social media, or simply creating time for personal reflection, you start to make space for your own needs. This process allows you to reconnect with your true self, free from the noise and expectations of the outside world. You can focus on what truly matters to you, whether it's nurturing your passions, investing in personal growth, or pursuing goals that align with your authentic desires. Focusing on yourself also means taking responsibility for your own happiness and well-being. It's about acknowledging that you have the power to create the life you want, rather than waiting for external circumstances to align perfectly. It's easy to blame others or the world around us for our dissatisfaction. But when we focus on ourselves, we realize that we have control over how we respond to challenges, what we prioritize, and how we choose to spend our time. This mindset shift empowers you to take action toward the life you want, rather than passively letting life happen to you. A key aspect of focusing on yourself is learning to listen to your inner voice. In a world filled with noise and distractions, it's easy to lose touch with your own intuition. But when you focus on yourself, you create space for your inner wisdom to come forward. This inner voice is often drowned out by the opinions of others, societal pressure, or the rush of daily life. By taking time to quiet your mind and listen to your heart, you can tap into a deeper sense of clarity and understanding about what you truly want and need. In focusing on yourself, you also develop greater self-awareness. It's easy to get lost in the roles we play, whether it's as a parent, employee, partner, or friend. These roles can sometimes overshadow our true identity, making it hard to remember who we really are beneath all the expectations. When you focus on yourself, you take a step back from these roles and reconnect with your inner values, passions, and goals. This self-awareness allows you to make decisions that are in alignment with who you truly are, rather than simply following the path set by others or societal norms. The act of focusing on yourself requires time and effort, but the rewards are immense. It leads to a deeper understanding of who you are, what you want, and how you can best contribute to the world around you. It also fosters a sense of self-compassion as you begin to treat yourself with the same care and consideration that you offer to others. By making yourself a priority, you cultivate a sense of fulfillment that comes from living authentically, rather than seeking approval or validation from external sources. Ultimately, focusing on yourself is about creating a life that reflects your true essence. It's about prioritizing your own growth, well-being, and happiness so that you can show up fully for yourself and for others. When you focus on yourself, you stop wasting time trying to meet the expectations of others and start living a life that is true to who you are. This shift in focus not only leads to greater personal fulfillment, but also enables you to create stronger, more meaningful connections with the people around you. By investing in yourself, you become better equipped to handle life's challenges and contribute positively to the world. When we speak of distractions, we are talking about the forces that pull us away from our true intentions, goals, and present experiences. In today's fast-paced world, distractions are everywhere, from social media notifications to endless streams of information, and they constantly compete for our attention. These distractions can be both external, such as noise or interruptions, and internal, such as our own thoughts and worries. What often happens is that we become so accustomed to being pulled in different directions that we don't even realize how much time and energy we are losing. As a result, we may feel disconnected from ourselves and our true purpose. Distractions don't just waste time, they rob us of our focus, which is one of the most important resources we have. Focus is the ability to direct your mental energy towards something specific and meaningful. When distractions constantly interrupt this flow, our minds are forced to jump from one task to another, preventing us from being fully present in the moment. This lack of focus reduces productivity and leaves us feeling scattered and unaccomplished. Moreover, when we are frequently distracted, it becomes harder to concentrate on long-term goals and make steady progress. We lose sight of our true priorities because we allow ourselves to be pulled in multiple directions, often chasing after things that don't truly align with our values or vision. In the age of technology, distractions have become even more pervasive. Social media, endless email chains, and the constant bombardment of information create a constant background noise that can be hard to escape. These distractions often feel urgent, but in reality they are trivial compared to the deeper work we need to focus on in our personal or professional lives. The more we allow ourselves to be distracted, the more we lose touch with our true needs and desires. Instead of focusing on what truly matters, whether it's personal growth, health, or relationships, we end up reacting to the noise of the world around us. Ultimately, distractions prevent us from connecting with our true purpose and goals. They keep us from focusing on ourselves, which is essential for growth and fulfillment. When we let go of distractions and regain our focus, we can make more intentional decisions and create a life that reflects our deepest values. Time is not something that can be saved for later. It is an ever-moving force that constantly passes by, never to return once it's gone. This is why it is essential to not waste time. We often hear people say that they are too busy to focus on what truly matters, but in reality, busyness doesn't equate to productivity or meaningful progress. When we allow ourselves to get caught up in the constant cycle of activity without purpose, we waste the most valuable resource we have: time. Time wasted on meaningless activities, distractions, or procrastination can leave us feeling unfulfilled and unaccomplished. The truth is, we are all given the same amount of time each day, but what we do with it defines the course of our lives. The key to not wasting time is being intentional about how we spend it. Every moment spent not working toward our goals or pursuing what we truly care about is a moment we'll never get back. Instead of letting time slip through our fingers, we must make a conscious effort to use it wisely, focusing on things that align with our core values and long-term vision. When we waste time, we often find ourselves stuck in a cycle of procrastination or distraction. These habits can become deeply ingrained over time, creating a barrier to productivity and personal growth. In a world filled with constant interruptions, it's easy to get sidetracked by social media, emails, or even other people's demands. While these things may feel urgent in the moment, they are not the things that will help us move forward in life. The habit of wasting time on things that don't matter only pulls us further away from achieving our true goals. To stop wasting time, it's important to develop a mindset that values every moment. This means making a conscious decision to prioritize what matters most to us, whether it's our health, relationships, career, or personal growth. It also requires eliminating unnecessary distractions and focusing on the present moment. Time spent on tasks that don't align with our goals is time lost. By being more intentional with our time, we can ensure that we are constantly working toward a life that is fulfilling and meaningful. The more we waste time, the more we distance ourselves from our true potential. Every minute spent aimlessly is a minute that could have been spent growing, learning, or contributing. Recognizing this reality is the first step toward breaking the cycle of wasted time. Once we become aware of how we are spending our time, we can make better decisions and redirect our focus toward things that truly matter. By not wasting time, we take control of our lives and our future. Time is our most finite resource, and using it wisely is the key to unlocking our true potential. Whether it's investing time in personal development, building meaningful relationships, or working on our goals, every moment counts. When we focus on the things that truly matter and avoid the distractions that lead to wasted time, we pave the way for a life of fulfillment and success. Time spent wisely is never wasted. It's an investment in ourselves and our future. Taking action is the essential bridge between our desires and the life we want to create. It is easy to get caught up in the dreaming and planning stages of our goals, but without taking deliberate, consistent steps toward those goals, nothing will ever change. Action is the catalyst that turns intentions into reality. The more we delay or hesitate to act, the more we remain stuck in the same patterns, unable to move forward. Action is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about making progress, even in small, imperfect steps that compounds into meaningful results over time. One of the most common reasons people fail to take action is fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, and fear of making mistakes can paralyze us, causing us to hesitate or procrastinate. We often find ourselves making excuses, telling ourselves that we need more time, more information, or more resources before we can start. This mindset keeps us trapped in a cycle of inaction. However, it's important to recognize that waiting for the perfect moment is often a form of avoidance. The truth is, there will never be a perfect time to take action. Life is uncertain, and conditions are rarely ideal. The key is to take action despite the fear, despite the uncertainties, and despite the imperfections. Taking action also requires commitment and consistency. It's easy to be motivated in the beginning, but motivation tends to fade over time, especially when we face obstacles or setbacks. This is where discipline comes into play. The act of taking consistent action, even when motivation wanes, is what drives real progress. Every small step you take toward your goal adds up over time, creating momentum that makes it easier to keep going. Whether it's dedicating time to work on a personal project, exercising regularly, or investing in learning new skills, each action you take brings you closer to your desired outcome. Another important aspect of taking action is the realization that you don't need to have everything figured out before you begin. Often we get stuck in analysis paralysis, overthinking and trying to perfect every detail before moving forward. While it's important to plan and strategize, taking action doesn't require perfection. In fact, the more we try to perfect every step, the more we delay progress. Sometimes the best way to learn and improve is by taking imperfect action, learning from our mistakes, and adjusting our approach along the way. Inaction is often rooted in a fear of failure or the uncertainty of not knowing what will happen next. But taking action opens the door to possibility. It allows us to learn, grow, and adapt to circumstances as they come. Even if things don't go exactly as planned, taking action will always teach us something valuable that we can apply in the future. Action is also the key to overcoming doubt. When we sit on the sidelines, questioning ourselves, we give our doubts more power. But when we take action, we challenge those doubts head-on, proving to ourselves that we are capable of moving forward, even when the path is unclear. It's important to remember that every action counts, no matter how small. It's the accumulation of small, consistent actions over time that leads to significant changes. Every step you take, no matter how incremental, brings you closer to your goal. Whether it's making a phone call, sending an email, or spending an hour on your passion project, each action is a step toward creating the life you want. The more you act, the more you build confidence in your ability to handle challenges and make progress, which in turn fuels even more action. The process of taking action creates momentum, which propels you forward. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to take that first step. But once you take that first step, the next one becomes easier, and the one after that even easier still. Action breaks the cycle of procrastination and sets the wheels in motion for the changes you desire. It is the foundation of progress, the driving force behind success, and the most powerful tool you have at your disposal to create the life you envision.